Sam Fisher is back, and this time he's got a new face, a new voice, and some new tricks.
Let me just set the mood here, Hex, before we get started.
Be careful because that stuff is expensive. So... Ow! Oh, my boob!
Ready? And 3, 2, 1, go, 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 I need backup now! Easy.
Sam is part of a counter-terrorism unit called 4th Echelon. He was a part of 3rd Echelon, but they became corrupt, so they went to make the 4th one. Sam forms a team, and they're called into action by Madam President when a group calling themselves the Engineers start targeting US assets on the Blacklist.
The Blacklist.
The Blacklist. The Blacklist.
And special thanks to Wikipedia for that information, because like most Tom Clancy games, it's quite hard to follow what's going on.
DCS thinks they're responsible for coordinating the Blacklist attacks. We can take a commander alive.
We could uncover plans for all of Blacklist.
Picked a hell of a time to double down.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with how complicated it was. I mean, they've managed to cram just about every kind of terrorism or military buzzword into one game. Guantanamo Bay, Benghazi.
We screwed the agency in Benghazi and Chicago, so they've locked us out on this.
Iran.
We didn't prove Iran was involved with the Blacklist.
Bombs, nukes, chemical weapons.
Bonus to make a chemical weapon.
It's got it all.
Let's meet the team. Sam Fisher, hardened covert ops specialist. This is his thinking face. He does that a lot.
You burned every intelligence contact you've got.
A natural gas tanker.
A bunch of special forces teams got slaughtered.
Sam?
This is Grim, in charge of tactical operations, returning character, and grumpy. Quirky IT guy, who fits in kind of like Ryan Reynolds in that Third Blade movie. And this guy, who's boring. They are 4th Echelon, and boy, do they like to argue.
So why are we still standing here?
Because Grim doesn't buy that it's Iran?
Don't you have a systems calibration to run?
Yeah, I mean, why can't everyone just get along? You can see they've worked hard to make these characters always in some sort of tactical drama to keep things intense.
The guts of the server the engineers use for their US ops. I've got IDs, addresses.
It's details.
It's classic bad action film stuff, but you know what, Hex? After a while, I started to get swept up in it a bit.
This is insane.
Not for us.
Yeah, it is quite cheesy at first, but a few hours in, I was right on board.
We will not negotiate.
You will not stop the Blacklist.
I wasn't completely sold on the new Sam Fisher, though. I think the voice actor is okay, but I do miss Michael Ironside, who has voiced Sam in the past.
What you want me to do?
Finish the job, Briggs!
I felt like with Conviction, the last game, they finally started to chip away at who Sam was, and we learnt more about him, and with that personal story with his daughter, and I feel like this is a step backwards in that respect.
The good news is, even if you tune out on the story, this was a great Splinter Cell game.
Yeah, something about this feels like that Splinter Cell we grew up with. It takes all those ideas and adds some new ones as well.
Your main hub of operations is a plane. And while at first it does feel more like a box that shakes a little, it works well as a breather in between missions as you upgrade your gear and talk to the crew.
One of these days I'm gonna get out of here, and everybody and their mother is gonna think I'm your sock puppet.
The overall presentation of this game is slick, and along with objectives displayed up on walls, you'll also see story information projected at times, which is always visually interesting.
They're mapping projected kill zones for an attack.
Multiplayer is blended with single-player co-op and versus multiplayer, and it's by no means tacked on. We had limited access to the multiplayer features, but we were able to get a feel for it.
Yes, let's talk about the co-op first. I'm glad it's so integrated now because I love sneaking about with a friend.
Those barricades look like the best defensive position nearby.
Some side missions are just simple wave modes. Others are all about tactical objectives, such as getting in and getting out without being seen once. And I found them the most satisfying.
While you can do many of these alone, you will find them quite hard to do solo, I think. And co-op allows for all sorts of dual takedowns and team-based strategy. And teamwork is especially important in the return of mercs versus spies. Spies camp it up and try to take mercs down from the shadows.
Bring them down.
Mercs are geared up and interestingly put into first person. They do their best to outsmart them. And
it all works so well too, as long as you have a team communicating well. But there's definitely good times to be had in all of the online modes, and they do make a nice break from the campaign.
Back to the single player, I loved all the variety in locations. It's not just a bunch of boring warehouses, and you'll even be doing a bit of parkour here and there. There are a few fiddly bits to the cover system.
This isn't funny, man.
But mostly you don't have to worry about the controls, you just stay entirely focused on the really solid gameplay, seamlessly moving through the shadows, strategically taking out lights, and picking your moment to attack.
Although I don't know where this particular Sam Fisher went to spy training school, because the way that you can actually tell he's in pure darkness and stealth is with a giant glowing light on his back.
Yeah, it's a bit gamey, but at least the colour doesn't all drain away like it did in Conviction. Most of all, I really liked how much of this game was set in daytime, Barjo. I mean, that's probably the biggest change for this series. When you're in sunlight, you can still find some shade, but mostly it's all about line of sight. And I found the AI was forgiving enough for it all to work well.
Yeah, I liked how much of it was in the daytime too, but I didn't enjoy the AI, especially after the excellent goons we had with Hitman Absolution. And while Splinter Cell is a much more serious game, I felt like the goons here were just that. They were just boring goons that came together to have a boring scripted conversation and then would mechanically separate in a routine that you would then have to break.
You hear something just now?
I don't know, I thought their routines had evolved a little bit so that you couldn't tell that they were on so much of a track. Besides, isn't that what soldiers do when they're guarding something? They just walk from point A to point B? I did find that all the enemies, even dogs, were connected by some kind of powerful hive mind though. What was that about?
Firing now.
Yeah, it all needs a bit more wiggle room with that stuff, doesn't it? A dog should not be able to pinpoint your exact location and then radio it to another guard to come and get you. I do like the hiding bodies really mattered, and I did feel a bit disrespectful though, picking up the bodies and throwing them about the place. May I introduce to you Body Throwing Simulator 2013.
Gotta work a whole lot harder, yeah, till my dying day.
There's so much stuff to unlock and upgrade too, and you will have a lot of fun building your particular loadouts, because sometimes you need to go in hard and heavy.
Popping smoke is optimal when you've got a lot of targets.
There's also some cosmetic lights. I was a fan of Topaz, personally. I did think that they could have had a bit more explanation though about all of these upgrades and what they actually did and meant.
I really liked the crossbow. It was full of shock noise and EMP ammo. The weapons handle well too, and when you're forced to bring out a big gun in a fight, it's thrilling having that extra firepower.
Yeah, they've definitely amped up the action, and that's the other big change to the series, I think, but it really works because all of that stealth stuff still plays into it. It's just more frantic. The takedown animations are seamless too, no matter where you are. And you can do things like drop down on a goon, which fills up your execute bars, then immediately spend it on pre-marked targets. It means that Sam can clean up a room in the space of a few seconds.
They've thought hard about the situational gameplay too. Enemies with helmets and riot shields pose new problems for you to solve, and there are some nice touches such as the sonar and night vision goggles, which are practical to flip on and off, but not to have on all the time. This means you spend more time looking at the real world, which is more fun anyway.
Overall, I think this is one of the best Splinter Cell games in a long time. I like that co-op and multiplayer are a bigger focus now. There's great choices there. I do wish there was a bit more human element in the game overall, but you can't deny that this is full of action and variety, so I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens, but play it on hard.
I just love that this game puts you in tough situations where you really feel the pressure of being trapped. Plus that dynamic combat music is so exciting. I'm giving it 9 as well.
And now, the final season of Tiny Power begins.